that very soon we will all see the building of the third temple in Jerusalem.
The table of showbread is ready. The menorah is ready. All of the golden pieces are ready. The third temple is ready.
Our job to bring and to build the third temple.
They're also planning to slaughter 5 red cows. That paves the way for the building of the third temple, replacing the Dome of...
In the ancient city of Jerusalem, a series of extraordinary events is unfolding, sparking global fascination and rekindling discussions about prophecies that have shaped religious and cultural narratives for centuries. At the heart of this phenomenon is Rabbi Baruch Kohen, a scholar identified in 2016 by the nascent Sanhedrin as a potential high priest Kohen Gadol for a future third temple. Coupled with the arrival of 5 unblemished red heifers in 2022, these developments have ignited intense debate. Are we witnessing the realization of ancient predictions, or are these symbolic gestures rooted in a longing for spiritual renewal? This exploration delves into the historical significance of the high priest, the enigmatic role of the red heifers, the prophetic traditions they evoke, and the intricate political, religious, and cultural landscapes surrounding the prospect of a third temple. The sacred mantle, the high priest's role in ancient Israel. To grasp the weight of Rabbi Kohen's potential role, we must first journey into the historical and spiritual significance of the high priest in ancient Israel. The high priest was the pinnacle of religious authority, serving as the mediator between the Jewish people and the divine. Reserved exclusively for descendants of Aaron, the brother of Moses, this role demanded unparalleled knowledge of Jewish law, halacha, unwavering adherence to ritual purity, and a profound commitment to the nation's spiritual well-being. The high priest's most sacred duty occurred on Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, when he entered the Holy of Holies, the innermost sanctum of the temple, accessible only to him once a year. There he performed intricate rituals to seek atonement for the collective sins of the Jewish people, a responsibility that placed him at the spiritual epicenter of the nation. His attire was a masterpiece of symbolism: ornate robes, a breastplate adorned with 12 gemstones representing the 12 tribes of Israel, and a golden headplate inscribed with "Holiness to the Lord." These garments, considered sacred, were meticulously crafted and stored with reverence, with some traditions suggesting that remnants may still be hidden in Israel, awaiting rediscovery. The first temple, built by King Solomon in the 10th century BCE, and the second temple constructed after the Babylonian exile were the stages for these sacred duties. However, the destruction of the second temple by the Romans in 70 CE brought an abrupt end to the high priest's role. For nearly 2 millennia, the absence of the temple rendered this position dormant, a relic of a bygone era. Yet recent efforts by groups like the nascent Sanhedrin and the Temple Institute have reignited interest in reviving this ancient institution, raising profound questions about whether the time for a third temple is approaching. The historical role of the high priest was not merely religious, but also cultural and political. In ancient Israel, the temple was the heart of national identity, a unifying force for a people often surrounded by powerful empires. The high priest, as its chief steward, wielded influence that extended beyond the spiritual realm, shaping the social and political fabric of the nation. Today, the prospect of restoring this role carries similar weight as it evokes aspirations for a return to a time of unity and divine connection. Rabbi Baruch Kohen, a bridge between past and future. In August 2016, the nascent Sanhedrin, a group of Jewish scholars and rabbis dedicated to reviving ancient Jewish practices, made a historic announcement. Rabbi Baruch Kohen, a respected scholar at the Halakha Berura Institute in Jerusalem, was identified as a potential candidate for the high priest in a future third temple. This decision was not a formal appointment, but a strategic preparation, anticipating a time when political and religious conditions might permit Jewish worship on the Temple Mount. Rabbi Kohen's selection reflects his deep expertise in Jewish law and temple rituals, as well as his potential lineage from the priestly line of Aaron Kohanim. In an interview with Israel 365 News on August 29, 2016, Rabbi Hillel Weiss, a spokesperson for the Sanhedrin, emphasized that Kohen's candidacy was a precautionary measure designed to ensure readiness should the opportunity arise. Kohen himself stated that with access to the Temple Mount, the infrastructure for resuming temple services could be established within days, a testament to the advanced state of preparation. This announcement sent shockwaves through religious communities in Israel and beyond. For many, the identification of a potential high priest after 2,000 years is a powerful symbol of hope, signaling a step toward restoring a central pillar of Jewish tradition. It also underscores the nascent Sanhedrin's broader mission to revive ancient institutions from the priesthood to the judicial system as part of a vision for a renewed Jewish state rooted in its spiritual heritage. However, Kahane's candidacy is not without controversy. The role of high priest carries immense responsibility, and its revival raises questions about legitimacy, authority, and practicality in a modern context. Some within the Jewish community view the Sanhedrin's efforts as premature, arguing that the absence of a functioning temple and the complex political situation surrounding the Temple Mount make such preparations speculative. Others see Kahane's selection as a bold statement of faith, a declaration that the Jewish people are ready to reclaim their sacred legacy. The red heifers, a symbol of divine timing. On September 15, 2022, an event that might seem mundane to outsiders, the arrival of 5 red heifers in Israel captured global attention and sparked fervent discussion. These unblemished red heifers, raised by a Christian farmer in Texas and delivered to the Temple Institute in Jerusalem, were meticulously inspected by a panel of rabbis to ensure they met the stringent requirements of Jewish law. Now housed on a secure farm in Haifa, the heifers are under close observation as their eligibility could determine the next steps in temple preparations. In Jewish tradition, the red heifer, or para aduma, is a cornerstone of purification rituals essential for temple worship. According to ancient texts, a red heifer must be entirely red without blemish and never yoked for labor. Its ashes mixed with water are used in a ritual to purify individuals and objects, enabling them to enter the temple precincts. Historically, only 9 perfect red heifers were used between the time of Moses and the destruction of the Second Temple in 70 CE. The arrival of 5 potential candidates for the 10th heifer is seen by many as a historic milestone, potentially signaling the fulfillment of a long-awaited prophecy. The heifer's arrival was marked by a ceremonial welcome with approximately 300 people gathering to celebrate, accompanied by the sounding of the shofar, a traditional Jewish horn used in religious ceremonies. This public display underscores the cultural and spiritual weight of the event, which resonates deeply with those who anticipate the restoration of temple worship. For Orthodox Jews, the red heifers are not merely livestock, but symbols of divine timing linked to prophecies about the Messianic era. The involvement of a Christian farmer from Texas adds a fascinating dimension to the narrative. Motivated by a belief in the prophetic significance of the red heifers, the farmer's contribution reflects a broader phenomenon, the convergence of Jewish and Christian aspirations around the idea of a third temple. For some Christian communities, particularly those with apocalyptic beliefs, the heifers represent a precursor to significant eschatological events, creating a unique intersection of religious traditions. The red heifer's significance extends beyond their practical role in purification. They embody a bridge between ancient tradition and modern aspiration, a tangible link to a time when the temple stood as the center of Jewish life. Their arrival has sparked renewed interest in the temple movement, drawing attention from both supporters and skeptics who see the event as a turning point in the unfolding of prophecy. Whispers of prophecy, a vision for renewal. The events surrounding Rabbi Kahane and the red heifers are deeply intertwined with ancient Jewish prophecies, particularly those attributed to the prophet Daniel in the 6th century BCE. One of the most enduring prophecies, often referred to as the 70 weeks, outlines a timeline of events leading to the restoration of Jerusalem and the arrival of a messianic figure. While interpretations of this prophecy vary, it is widely seen as a roadmap for Jewish history, predicting periods of exile, redemption, and spiritual renewal. At its core, the prophecy envisions a time when Jerusalem is rebuilt and the temple is restored as the heart of Jewish worship. For many scholars, the rebuilding of the Third Temple is a pivotal moment in this narrative, marking the culmination of a divine plan. The selection of a potential high priest and the arrival of red heifers are viewed as practical steps toward this goal, aligning with the belief that the Messianic era is approaching. The prophecy's enduring power lies in its ability to connect past, present, and future. For those who see the red heifers and Rabbi Kahane's candidacy as signs, these events are not isolated, but part of a larger narrative that spans millennia. The prophecy speaks to a universal human longing for redemption and renewal, a theme that resonates across religious and cultural boundaries. Beyond Jewish tradition, the prophecy of the Third Temple has captured the imagination of other religious communities. Some Christian groups, particularly those with premillennial eschatological views, see the temple's reconstruction as a precursor to significant events in their own prophetic frameworks. This convergence of beliefs highlights the universal appeal of these ancient predictions, which continue to inspire hope, debate, and reflection. The interpretation of these prophecies is not without controversy. Within the Jewish community, opinions vary on the timing and feasibility of the Third Temple. Some see the current preparations as a fulfillment of divine will, while others view them as symbolic gestures that reflect spiritual aspirations rather than practical realities. The diversity of perspectives underscores the complexity of prophecy, which often serves as a mirror for human hopes and fears. Crafting a sacred future, preparations for the Third Temple. The nascent Sanhedrin and the Temple Institute have been working tirelessly for decades to lay the groundwork for the Third Temple, driven by a belief that its reconstruction is a divine imperative. Their efforts encompass a range of practical and symbolic initiatives, each designed to preserve and revive the traditions of temple worship. Training priestly candidates. The Temple Institute has established rigorous programs to train individuals from the priestly lineage of Aaron Kohanim in the intricate rituals of temple worship. These trainees study ancient texts, learn the procedures for sacrifices, and practice ceremonies to ensure readiness for a future temple. This training is not merely academic, but a living connection to a 2,000-year-old tradition. Utul, crafting sacred vessels. The Institute has recreated sacred objects such as the golden menorah, the incense altar, the showbread table, and the Ark of the Covenant's cover caparet, based on precise descriptions in Jewish texts. These replicas, crafted with meticulous attention to detail, are intended for use in a future temple and are often displayed in public exhibitions to raise awareness. Reenacting rituals. In recent years, the Sanhedrin and the Temple Institute have conducted public reenactments of temple sacrifices, including Passover offerings and other ceremonies. These events serve as both educational tools and a means of preserving ritual knowledge, ensuring that the skills required for temple worship are not lost to time. Advocacy and education. Both organizations promote the vision of the Third Temple through lectures, publications, and media campaigns. The Temple Institute, for example, maintains an active online presence, offering educational resources and virtual tours of their recreated sacred objects. These efforts aim to build support within Jewish communities and foster a sense of collective purpose. Architectural planning. The Temple Institute has developed detailed architectural plans for the Third Temple based on biblical descriptions and historical records. These plans account for modern engineering while adhering to traditional requirements, reflecting a blend of reverence for the past and pragmatism for the future. These preparations reflect a deep commitment to restoring a central aspect of Jewish tradition. For many, the Third Temple represents not only a physical structure, but also a spiritual ideal, a return to a time when the Jewish people were united in worship and purpose. The Sanhedrin and the Temple Institute view their work as a fulfillment of divine commandments, a way to prepare for a future of spiritual renewal. However, these efforts are not without challenges. The absence of a functioning temple, combined with the political complexities of the Temple Mount, raises questions about the feasibility of these preparations. Critics argue that the focus on the Third Temple diverts attention from more pressing issues such as social justice and interfaith dialogue. Supporters, on the other hand, see these efforts as a testament to faith and resilience, a refusal to let ancient traditions fade into obscurity. The Temple Mount, a nexus of faith and conflict. The Temple Mount, believed to be the site of the First and Second Temples, is one of the most contested religious sites in the world. For Jews, it is the holiest place in their faith, the location where the divine presence once dwelled, and where the temple stood as a symbol of spiritual and national unity. For Muslims, the Temple Mount is home to the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock, two of Islam's holiest sites tied to key moments in Islamic history, including the Prophet Muhammad's night journey. The site is currently administered by the Islamic Waqf under Jordanian oversight, with strict regulations governing Jewish access. Jews are permitted to visit the Temple Mount under heavy security, but are generally prohibited from praying or performing religious rituals there. This status quo, established after Israel's capture of East Jerusalem in the 1967 Six-Day War, is a delicate compromise designed to maintain peace in a volatile region. Any attempt to alter this arrangement, such as allowing Jewish worship or construction on the Temple Mount, could spark significant conflict. Past incidents such as Jewish visits to the site or public calls for temple reconstruction have triggered protests, violence, and diplomatic crises. The Palestinian Authority, which views the Temple Mount as a symbol of national and religious identity, has repeatedly condemned efforts like the Red Heifer Initiative, warning that they could escalate tensions in Jerusalem. The Sanhedrin and the Temple Institute are acutely aware of these challenges. Rabbi Kahane has emphasized that temple services would only resume under conditions that allow Jewish access without provoking conflict. However, the public discussion of a third temple, coupled with high-profile events like the arrival of the Red Heifers, has already drawn criticism from Muslim leaders and others who view these efforts as provocative. In 2022, the Palestinian Authority issued a statement condemning the Red Heifer Initiative, calling it a dangerous escalation that threatens the status quo. The Temple Mount's status is further complicated by its role in the broader Israeli-Palestinian conflict. For Palestinians, the site is a symbol of resistance against perceived encroachments on their religious and national heritage. For Israelis, it represents a historical and spiritual birthright, fueling aspirations for its reclamation. This clash of narratives makes the prospect of a third temple a geopolitical as well as a religious issue with implications that extend far beyond Jerusalem. A global echo, the intersection of faiths. The developments surrounding Rabbi Kahane and the Red Heifers have resonated far beyond Israel, drawing attention from religious communities worldwide. In the United States, evangelical Christian groups have expressed strong support for the temple movement, seeing it as a fulfillment of their own prophetic beliefs. The Christian farmer who raised the red heifers, for example, was motivated by a conviction that his actions were part of a divine plan reflecting a broader trend of Christian support for Jewish aspirations in Israel. This cross-religious interest highlights the global significance of these events, which bridge Jewish and Christian traditions. For some Christians, particularly those with premillennial eschatological views, the rebuilding of the Third Temple is a precursor to significant events in their prophetic frameworks. This convergence of beliefs creates a unique dynamic where shared aspirations for a messianic era coexist with distinct theological interpretations. At the same time, the international community remains cautious. The United Nations, along with governments such as Jordan and the United States, has repeatedly called for restraint in matters concerning the Temple Mount, recognizing its potential to destabilize the region. Analysts warn that any move to build a third temple could have far-reaching consequences, potentially affecting global diplomacy and exacerbating tensions in the Middle East. The intersection of Jewish and Christian interest in the Third Temple also raises questions about the role of prophecy in shaping modern actions. For some, the Red Heifers and Rabbi Kahane's candidacy are signs of divine timing, pointing to a future of spiritual renewal. For others, they are symbolic gestures that reflect the enduring power of ancient traditions in a rapidly changing world. The diversity of perspectives underscores the complexity of prophecy, which often serves as a lens through which people interpret their hopes, fears, and aspirations. The selection of Rabbi Baruch Kahane, the arrival of the Red Heifers, and the ongoing preparations for the Third Temple represent a profound intersection of prophecy and reality. These events invite reflection on the enduring power of ancient predictions to shape human aspirations and actions. For some, they inspire hope for a renewed spiritual era, a time when the Jewish people can reclaim their sacred heritage. For others, they raise concerns about conflict and division in a region already marked by competing claims and histories. The question is not merely whether the Third Temple will be built, but what its construction would mean for the world. Would it usher in an era of peace and unity, as some prophecies suggest, or would it ignite new conflicts in an already divided region? The answers remain uncertain, but the developments in Israel underscore the profound impact of belief on the course of history. As the nascent Sanhedrin and the Temple Institute continue their work, the world watches closely. The red heifers now grazing in Haifa and Rabbi Kahane standing ready to assume a historic role are symbols of a broader movement, one that seeks to bridge the ancient and the modern, the spiritual and the practical. Whether these efforts will lead to the fulfillment of prophecy or remain a testament to enduring faith, they highlight the timeless human quest for meaning, connection, and redemption in an ever-changing world. The path to the Third Temple is fraught with challenges, from political tensions to religious divisions. Yet it is also a path of possibility, where ancient traditions meet modern aspirations and where the dreams of a people are woven into the fabric of history. As these events unfold, they invite us to consider not only the future of Jerusalem, but also the role of prophecy in shaping our collective destiny.